to 92. Judges David Sutherland and Chris Migliori both score the bout 98 to 91. All three in favor of the winner, the problem child, Jake Paul.
For now than anything. And no knockers. Knockers don't mean nothing. You gotta be able to go the distance. That's fighting.
Everybody has a plan until they get hit. Yeah. You got hit. And how did it affect you?
I went to plan B. I hit him back.
Returning Mike Tyson's shocking announcement following his defeat against Jake Paul is the type of headline that causes you to confirm whether you're in some different universe, yet fans of Tyson, be aware that this is the final thing desired to observe, but it did occur. The 58-year-old Mike Tyson, the famous, lost to Jake Paul in combat, and then just in order to maintain interest, he came out with a revelation made after the fight that had jaws on the floor for everyone.
We gotta do this again.
While half of you are probably clutching their hearts, still absorbing the horror of witnessing the referee elevate Jake Paul's hand over Tyson's, I can already hear half of you yelling that this fight had to be rigged. However, it's 2024, and strange things are officially the norm.
I haven't did this in 15, 16 years. I'm not a giant, I'm a beginner.
Did he ever hurt you tonight?
Well, listen, he surprised me with the hook. He hit me with a hook, a good hook.
Hurt.
Yes, it did hurt.
Consequently, the altercation that ended at AT&T Stadium a few hours ago wasn't. Nope, not your typical boxing match. That was the type of show that left the entire world is holding on to its collective jaw in shock. Months of accumulation, never-ending arguments and demands the sky high, all leading up to this confrontation, which was live-streamed on Netflix due to you. Recognize when you're 58-year-old Mike. Even Netflix will be watching Tyson enter the ring. Wishes to participate in the drama.
Mike, there's just no appetite for this. It just doesn't make sense. The other thing is Mike having to pull out because of ulcers, like that f***ed it all up. Jake's team's brilliant, so maybe it's a Trojan horse, like I've said before. Hey, just get this across, we'll get the views, and then they're gonna sign 3 fights, some sort of deal, or gets to the UFC. I don't know. I don't see the upside.
Consequently, the altercation that ended at AT&T Stadium a few hours ago wasn't. Nope, not your typical boxing match. That was the type of show that left the entire world is holding on to its collective jaw in shock. Months of accumulation, never-ending arguments and demands the sky high, all leading up to this confrontation, which was live-streamed on Netflix due to you. Recognize when you're 58-year-old Mike. Even Netflix will be watching Tyson enter the ring. Wishes to participate in the drama.
On Friday night when I put this man to sleep, so that is pretty dope.
He dreams a lot.
A lot of dreams.
I knew it, they all come true.
I mean, this is not gonna come true, young man.
Tyson, whose name used to make people shudder, was going up against Jake Paul, who is best known for playing practical jokes on his own brother and using body spray as if it were a lifeline. The plot was established and it was straightforward. Everyone expected Mike to flatten Jake Paul like a pancake in the first few minutes, and Tyson was meant to demolish him without any questions or arguments.
What did you initially think when you heard that Mike Tyson was going to be getting in the ring with Jake?
I was thinking that Jake Paul was going to be in trouble because, you know, Mike Tyson knows how to throw great body punches, great headshots. And, you know, we just have to see if he's going to do them in the ring. I'm hoping that he'll do that.
Fans everywhere were left scratching their eyes as if they were experiencing a collective hallucination after what seemed to be a reality-breaking, universe-shattering event. It was the kind of scene that left you wondering whether the world had finally gone insane.
This is a scary, scary man. He's a killer and has all the power still clearly in all the videos, all the sparring that he's showing, dropping his sparring partners. My mom is messaging, she can't even watch Tyson punch. She won't watch it because it scares her.
However, let's take a step back and discuss Jake Paul's reputation, or more precisely, the circus that is his public image. This man's workouts have resembled beforehand tailgates more than athletic preparation, and he posts videos of himself consuming junk food while pretending that jogging laps was some kind of medieval torture.
I have big plans and I'm continuing to, again, do the impossible and show people what I'm capable of, and they chalk up what I've done to fights being rigged. Still, when he posts on his Instagram, looking like a killer.
Nobody paid him any attention. The boxing purist dismissed him as a joke. Jake Paul was a joke, not a contender, or so everyone believed. If you had the audacity to imply that Jake could actually fight, you would likely be laughed out of any serious boxing discourse. A circus act is a diversion from the real sport.
And that used to bother me. Right. That used to bother me because I was like, no, I'm working so hard. Can't you people see? But now I take it as a compliment because the human peon brain of the 99% can't even comprehend
get it.
How good I've gotten and what I'm accomplishing in this world.
However, beneath the layers of social media silliness, Jake Paul was plotting something so cunning that you almost have to appreciate it. He kept saying he would shock the world, but no one listened, so why would they? After all, this was Jake Paul.
He's not going to win. I think he thinks this is going to be a very easy night. It's not going to be an easy night.
I don't think that. I think it's going to be a war of ages. The fans are the ones who win out of this, but I know you, I know your soul on a deeper level, and I know myself, and I know you're not going to quit.
However, here's the problem. Jake wasn't all talk. He worked hard to train away from the spotlight and away from the trolls and doubters. He wasn't just interested in showing up and getting paid. He was determined to prove everyone wrong, and it was clear when he entered the ring that this wasn't the same guy who had been hammering it up for the cameras.
Yeah, 100%, and I have to stay active. I have to stay working towards my goal of becoming a world champion, so there needs to be 3 fights a year for me at least, and that's how I get better, is under the bright lights and performing when there's adrenaline and nerves.
The fact that Mike Tyson, who is nearly 58 years old, is entering the ring is more than just a sporting event. It's the stuff of legends. Most men his age are trading in their boxing gloves for golf clubs and bragging about how they used to bench press 200 pounds. But Tyson is the same guy who, in his prime, didn't want to defeat his opponents. He once declared he'd eat their hearts, and guess what?
I'm just ready to go.
Now, does a loss to Jake Paul damage your legacy?
I don't look at my life as a legacy. Legacy to me means ego. Who the about my legacy? I'm going to be dead soon one day, but he's not going to win.
It's 2024, and even as he approaches 60, that unquenchable fire hasn't cooled down at all. Tyson could have easily looked at this fight and said, "Now I'm good," and no one would have questioned it. Let's face it, most men his age are more concerned with controlling their cholesterol than facing off against a power-punching maniac like Jake Paul.
Round 5, and Jake's looking for the finish. He's hurt! On the ropes! Jake Paul putting it on here! Analyzing big-time round for Jake Paul.
If you thought Tyson was only there to take a few blows and cash a check, think again. From the first round, he turned back time in a way that left people rubbing their eyes in shock. Tyson was a 57-year-old living legend who entered AT&T Stadium like it was the Roman Colosseum, ready to remind everyone why he was still referred to as the baddest man on the planet.
Unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge of ringside, David Yakabuchi, scores about 97-92.
The renowned uppercuts that once broke people's jaws and dreams in the 1980s are returned with a fury. When Tyson delivered a vicious left uppercut in the first round, Jake Paul's legs crumbled, and Joe Rogan, who was calling the fight, almost lost his voice. For a brief moment, it appeared as though Jake was going to take an unplanned nap on the canvas, as his hands flailed around like he was swatting imaginary flies. Let's also speak about Tyson's footwork, which wasn't just amazing for a 58-year-old. It was good overall, and the man hadn't fought at all at this level in years, but he was evading questions as if they were from 1988 all over again. Jake Paul, who had entered the altercation with a swagger of confidence, suddenly appeared to be a young man who had chosen a quarrel with his father and was instantly regretting it. Tyson's strength, agility, and complete contempt for aging were all on full display. It was the epitome of unadulterated, classic Tyson, and it was breathtaking.
Former undisputed, undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson!
However, by round 3, Tyson's physical damage was irreversible, serving as a brutal reminder that even legends are fallible. This was not a Hollywood comeback tale in which the hero remains unbeatable forever, because it was difficult to watch a 57-year-old Mike Tyson endure every tense breath and stiff movement, Supporters on Twitter playfully dubbed these the ulcer-inducing rounds. However, Tyson never played. The audience stood up in anticipation of Tyson's final blow, the age card. He didn't whine or plead for sympathy. He could have given up and received a standing ovation from everyone for simply showing up, but that isn't who he is to Tyson. Fighting is about defiance and heart. When it came to telling father it was time for a hike, and just when it seemed like Tyson's fight took a turn so crazy it could have been written for a Hollywood script, yet it seemed like his sheer resolve would still get him through. Jake Paul, who was only a single uppercut away from calling it quits, suddenly received an inexplicable energy spike. Referee Steve Willis was on the verge of ending the bout when Tyson launched a barrage at Jake, who was backed into a corner and barely holding on.
On the ropes, Jake Paul pulling it on here. Analyzing big-time round for Jake Paul. Big round, big round, big shot.
However, by round 3, Tyson's physical damage was irreversible, serving as a brutal reminder that even legends are fallible. This was not a Hollywood comeback tale in which the hero remains unbeatable forever, because it was difficult to watch a 57-year-old Mike Tyson endure every tense breath and stiff movement. Supporters on Twitter playfully dubbed these the ulcer-inducing rounds. However, Tyson never played. The audience stood up in anticipation of Tyson's final blow, the age card. He didn't whine or plead for sympathy. He could have given up and received a standing ovation from everyone for simply showing up, but that isn't who he is to Tyson. Fighting is about defiance and heart. When it came to telling father it was time for a hike, and just when it seemed like Tyson's fight took a turn so crazy it could have been written for a Hollywood script, yet it seemed like his sheer resolve would still get him through. Jake Paul, who was only a single uppercut away from calling it quits, suddenly received an inexplicable energy spike. Referee Steve Willis was on the verge of ending the bout when Tyson launched a barrage at Jake, who was backed into a corner and barely holding on.
Migliore both score the bout 98-91, all three in favor of the winner, the problem child, Jake Paul.
Your winner.
As it turned out, Jake had been engaging in a brilliant psychological game. As the specialists broke down the fight, they discovered that Jake had purposefully taken a battering early on to give Tyson a false sense of power. It was as though he was playing possum, waiting for the right opportunity to attack. The prankster-turned-boxer not only survived but outlasted one of the most dangerous fighters in history. The fight wasn't just a spectacle. It was a shocking, dramatic roller coaster that left everyone stunned, concluding once and for all that Jake Paul is here to stay, whether you like it or not. Tyson exhausted himself, absorbed the punishment, and then pounced when the legend's energy waned. It was the kind of strategy that seemed ridiculous until it actually worked.